Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the right time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by Prize Picks. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. It is that time of week where we have a guest join us, coming to us live from Birmingham, Alabama, looking more
Yeah.
Birmingham than anybody has ever looked without a fire hose hitting him
Yeah,
in the
showing
chest.
them
Roy
things.
Wood Jr., what's
Wait a
going
minute. Now,
on?
why you have to go straight to the fire hoses off the top, Bo?
Because you was putting on for Birmingham so
Damn.
hard that I think the only way you can put on harder is if it caught you right there.
Okay, I will take that as a compliment, I guess. Good to see you, brother.
Yes,
Good to see you
yes,
again.
yes,
I am.
yes. Happy Juneteenth to you.
Yes, and I'm coming to you live from the Negro Southern League Museum here in Birmingham, Alabama. And let me make it perfectly clear, because we're recording on Juneteenth. The museum is not open on Juneteenth. It is a special celebration and reception for a lot of the celebrity Major League Baseball guests that are in town to honor Willie Mays and all of the other living Negro Leaguers, the Negro Leaguers that we still have left with us tomorrow at the Giants Cardinals. I don't want you to. So I got a friend whose wife works at the Civil Rights Institute, and she said they had a serious debate about whether or not to open the museum on Juneteenth. I asked you, Bo Bunny, to start this show. Should the Black History Museum be open on Juneteenth?
I brought my black ass to work, didn't I? Like I think that's kind of I have thoughts as a Texan. I have thoughts on Juneteenth being a holiday like it is, because I honestly feel like it's ours and a lot of people are cosplaying. But I think it should be open, if for no other
Yeah.
reason than you got to get white folks when they in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? And this one of them days where they just decide they might want to hop their happy asses over here and learn some history.
But go and teach me a little bit about that slavery. What was it you talking about that
Yes,
slavery? But I
yes.
understand it from both sides. But I'm just saying that off the top because folks like to judge. I can't believe that museum was open on the Juneteenth, so that's why it's open today.
Nah. They offered us a day off this week, and I said no. I wanted to talk about the NBA finals. Like
Really?
I, I have, like I say, I have conflicting thoughts about Juneteenth.
Has there ever been a player more roasted for winning a finals than Jayson Tatum? Why? Why? Why?
So,
Why are they bothering this man? The man won a trophy.
okay, okay, I'll tell you why.
Can
Okay,
I not be inspired
and
by Kobe to, do a lot of Kobe stuff and
dog.
Kevin Garnett-esque celebrations?
Now, have I told you my theory on this? And it's actually kind of, some
No,
people may
no,
say
you
I'm
have
making
not.
too much of it, but I think no, it's very simple, man. Jayson Tatum, I don't think we've ever had a Gen Zer wind up in this moment. Like, he is the first of those to really start moving toward a superstar kind of place, an American Gen Zer at that.
So,
And if you spend
yeah.
your whole time communicating in memes, at some point you're gonna talk in them. Like, it wasn't just that he was redoing old stuff, is that he was doing stuff that people send around on the internet all the time. And that's what it's come down to. A major thing happens, there's a meme for that. And he's like, not only is there a meme, I'm the meme. I'm the meme master. And I think that's a combination of the times and the fact that he may just be a little bit of a herb because he went to Duke.
I don't think it's fair to the brother, but by the second or third championship, he'll get it right.
I mean, if it gets there, right? I think the NBA need to figure out something right now. Because if what we saw at the game leads us to an obvious conclusion, Jayson Tatum about to have 2 kids running around on the court. There's gonna be one kid crawling and throwing little toys around while the first one about to be big enough to think he can take his own shots. They gonna have to put a rule in place so Jayson Tatum don't bring no playpen and put it over there in the corner because he just can't. He honestly, man, everybody talk about these black men not being daddies and all that, and what that's led to is this annoying NBA habit of people bringing their kids everywhere all the damn time. Like, the thing I respect LeBron for was LeBron wasn't living like that. You know what I'm saying? These other jokers just knew, I take care of my kids. I don't care. I don't.
But But in a weird way, is it not good to see black men connecting with light skinned black men connecting with each? I'm sorry, I made it racial on Juneteenth. Is it not a good thing to see black men connecting with their child and their children in public? Because I tell you, somewhere you don't see a lot of this, the NFL.
Well, I mean, nobody wants to have their kid on the field when it's entirely possible you might die that day. Like
You
let's
need a whole
let's not.
dais for some of them NFL kids. You would need a
Yes.
Tom Brady roast level amount of chairs.
Yes, I would also make the point that while it is entirely possible that it is good to show this level of fatherhood, I would also make the note, and a lot of people know this, and this is the truth. Some people will be better off with no daddy at all. Not everybody is better having their daddy around. Some people really like it would have worked out a whole lot better for some people if that dude never found out. Never got any words. You telling me you ain't never met nobody who would have been better off with no daddy at all? Because there's some people right now listening, and I ain't calling them out, but I say this, and it's some people who feel real seen when I point out that they wish their daddy had left.
These are fair points you are making. Yes, absolutely. I also believe that, these new kids, that's how you know these. Do you wonder if, and this is a terrible theory, but I really believe this to some degree. Do you wonder if LeBron being in Bronny's life made him not as good as his father at basketball at the same mile marker? How much does coming from a two-parent home make you deficient in your athletic sport of choice, Bomani?
I would just make the note that all these juniors whose first daddies we are familiar in the league operate as an antithesis to this, right? Brody just might not have it. They like, I do feel like access and all that stuff. Cause I get your point, right? Like, do you have any clue what I had to do to get here? I don't think you do. And that is like, it gives you the drive that is necessary for
Yes.
you to go there. Honestly, I think the only thing that
Yes.
poverty really gives as an advantage for basketball players in particular on their way up, and to a degree football, but with basketball, the real advantage it gets is practice at taking hard fouls. Because if there's one thing that changes as the income level of the group changes, it is what you are allowed to call a foul. Rich people call fouls on the tiniest things.
Yeah.
Poor people are not trying to hear that shit. Not for a
Yeah.
single minute.
I think you get tougher when you have the anger of an absentee father. I just think it just your field goal percentage goes up exponentially. We should have known Shaq was going to be a Hall of Famer when he made a whole song. My biological didn't bother. Do you know how angry you got to be balling out on the court and then go, no, I need to go into the studio because Phil Father Harrison is my father. No one asked
Yeah, well,
Shaq to do this.
you know what I think probably made Shaq a little tougher that we don't give him no credit for? And this is something that you learn in Texas. And keep in mind that Shaq is not only from Texas, Shaq is from San Antonio. So he had practice probably playing basketball against two groups that may have toughened him up. One of those groups
Okay.
is military cats, right? Because his dad being a military guy. But number two, and this one cannot be lost. And anybody who has talked to me about playing ball around Austin and depending on where you go in Houston, because it's just a little bit segregated, I'm just telling you now, not too much gonna toughen you up like hooping with some Mexicans. Because let me tell you something. I don't know what the word for foul is in Spanish, and neither do our Mexican brothers. When our Mexican brothers is out here hooping, I don't know what's got to go down for you to call it a foul. And if you do call it a foul, you are going to get a look. I have been learning Spanish, but I got to get the words for some of these things here, because the look you going to get for trying to call a foul, they not really, una mirada. No, 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 no. You're going to get una mirada about calling that foul.
Muy mal. I think that's the only thing I
Yes.
can remember that that's even close to
Nah,
foul in
my
Mexican. But
Spanish
I
done
still
got kind of
remember.
right, man. I got some Spanish. I got a little French in my bag. But before this goes too long, and this is on Juneteenth, I needed to give you a shout out for what you did. It's the day before Juneteenth, but I want to put some people on the history, and I don't even know so much if you fully know this history. But I think there's certain people on Juneteenth who, like black people, who were adversely affected and people don't realize it. And so I don't mean to like get into the darker parts of some of our history, but it was some black people who owned slaves. And I imagine that those black people was just like the white people and wasn't trying to tell the slaves that they was off the clock no more, right? They didn't want that. But yes, Juneteenth was great for the black people that was slaves, but what nobody think about the black people who now all of a sudden lost their labor force and their plantations was going to shut down. But somebody had them in mind when they got dressed yesterday. Roll that beautiful bean footage and let us see Roy Wood paying homage to the black slave masters of the 1860s when he rolled up in the spot yesterday.
Come on, bro. That was my Stephen A. Smith inspired 18th-esque Negro League entrance as a reporter in the 1940s.
Yes, Steven. When that Samuel Jackson's name in Django? Steven? Wasn't that who you was putting on for?
You were on my neck for no reason today. I've done nothing to you, dog.
You know why? I wasn't on your neck right there. You just got to give me some credit. That was well played. You have to give me some props for the execution that it took to bring that all together.
I was, so for context, because I don't normally dress like that. I had the honor of being in the booth for MLB Network, as kind of like sideline reporting on the Negro League throwback game yesterday, because we need that context. See, that's what you didn't give. You just said I was in Birmingham, but you need to make it clear the players were dressed from the 40s. So the reporters, I felt like we should do something that's a little 1940s. Now, of course, Rich and CY in the booth, they was dressed in a regular ass MLB Network polo. They didn't get the memo. I got the memo and decided to dress it up a little bit. And then I come on your show and somebody said that I look like I was finna sell a monorail in Springfield.
I can see that. You know what I think it was? You look like you was trying to not get hit in the chest with no water hose.
Did you just say I was dressed like one of the good ones yesterday? They go over there, sir. They hiding over there, sir.
No, I tell you, dressed like the funniest moment on the Boondocks for the first episode was when Buddy was out here pretending like he was out there protesting, but he really wasn't. He went down the street when they was hitting the people with the water hoses to get a raincoat. Yeah. And the greatest line in the history of that show, bet you wish you had a raincoat right now. They wore his ass out.
Here's the real comedy of dressing like that, is that you have to commit to that bit for the entirety of the broadcast, which was fine until about the 6th inning. And we get the news that Willie Mays has passed, and we've broken the news to the stadium. We've read the statement from Manfred and the Giants and Ken Griffey on the air. And then you cut back to me for my thoughts, and I'm dressed like Ray and Claude Gibson in the first 10 minutes of the movie Life. Never been more embarrassed.
My buddy Nick has a thing about that, where he's just like, we're never dressing up for Halloween because you're going to mess around and something serious is going to happen. And then he look at you on TV in a get up.
Yeah. It was not. I thought about changing clothes between innings, but you've done this work before. You're not in a place to be able to do. You can't go nowhere. In between baseball innings is 2 minutes. I ain't got enough time to put on a suit.
Nah, and let me tell you, man, Willie Mays dying. Like, especially when the word had come out either day before or that day, like, no, he's not going to be able to attend in person. And then the day ends and Willie Mays dies. And not only is Willie Mays one of the was one of the 3 living Negro Leaguers, he is from Birmingham, and he's Willie Mays. Like, I don't know if it's possible to convey to younger people what a big deal Willie Mays was, because baseball doesn't have that same place where you just hear about it, like these legendary figures of baseball. Like, we knew all those guys when we were younger. I don't know if it rings the same way, if it's possible to explain to them, but this is like Joe Louis dying or something like that. Like, Willie Mays may have been America's best living athlete for who knows how long.
I think that it's hard to also put in perspective how big he was at the time because baseball was bigger than football. Basketball wasn't even really a thing at the level that we know it today when Willie Mays first started at 17 years old for the Birmingham Black Barons. Like, to be in high school and going and playing with grown men took Satchel Paige, who was throwing, let the old heads tell it, 105, 106, 107. Willie Mays, as a teenager, took that boy 400 feet. So the idea of what he was at the time and what he became, I just don't think young people will ever have a scope for it because they just don't have a scope for what baseball has meant to so many people, especially black people.
And New York used to mean something in this country that it doesn't now. Like, it's still New York City, but all the TV shows were about New York. Like, it was the media capital of the world before there was an internet. So much of what went on in New York was the centerpiece of stuff. And so you had Gil Hodges and Duke Snider in Brooklyn. You had Mickey Mantle playing for the Yankees, and you had Willie Mays playing for the Giants. And Willie Mays was that dude. Then they moved to San Francisco, and I've been trying to come up with a comparison for what it was like. But, you know, the Dodgers and the Giants moved to California in the 1950s in the same year. It's almost as if, like, you know how the NWA came out and it was like, oh, there's a rapper from L.A.? What if whoever the hottest rapper in New York was in 1988, right? Let's say Run DMC or LL Cool J. LL Cool J has now moved to San Francisco, and we got rap in San Francisco now. Like you got the best rapper in New York, and now he belongs to you and your team.
I really feel like his passing and the celebration that they're doing here in Birmingham, you know, I'm just happy. You know, I spoke with Ferdinand Rutledge last night during the game, and he said that he's happy that they're being honored, but he's sad because so many Negro Leaguers are dead and gone who never got their day in the sun, who never got the pensions that have been approved now, who never got to see their statistics elevated. So it's kind of a bittersweet thing. And I think Willie's passing kind of cements that point to a degree. And so that part of it, it's a tough pill to swallow. I'm happy they're getting their day in the sun, but man, those brothers went through a lot and it was never talked about in history. I live in Birmingham. They never taught us half the history of Rickwood Field and the Negro Leagues. Like, you know, Alabama history, you know, when they talk slavery and they talk slavery briefly, and then they go fire hose, and then Birmingham jail letter, and then Barack Obama. Like, what happened in between all that? Oh, don't worry about that.
Not even Michael Jordan? Y'all don't even take a little moment to talk about that time Mike came down there?
It's a football town. By the time Jordan was peaking, we was a football town. Gene Stallings, Derek Glassick, and them at 1 in 92. Jordan was cool, but nobody reminisces about, man, remember when Michael Jordan went 1 for 4 with a single? No one, everyone says they saw Jordan play. Ask them what he did on the field. It's not remembered. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way because I know Jordan got goons. But the idea that baseball has this same lasting, living feeling within the South, I think is part of why the history of Rickwood is just kind of, you know, just glossed over and looked over. We're talking about a field, bro, where the first ever integrated sporting event happened in the state of Alabama. In the state of Alabama, blacks and whites on the same team happened at Rickwood Field with the Birmingham Barons in 1965. That same game was also the first integrated stands in the state of Alabama. So, bro, you got blacks and whites on the field, you got blacks and whites in the stands, and I think part of why that was able to happen was because blacks and whites had come to Rickwood more than enough times over the past decades to watch the Black Barons ball the hell out, and they got along. I wish more people knew that game is that they gave away razor blades as the fan giveaway, which I don't think is a smart thing to do when you're mixing black people and white people for the first time ever.
No, hold on. So the first integrated sporting event in the state of Alabama, and the bobblehead of the day was actually razor blades. That's what you're saying. I would have turned my black ass around.
Imagine if a fan had a razor blade when Kyrie went into the crowd the other night in Game 5. Uh, it's a magical place, bro. It really is a magical place. You know, I played high school ball there, and we didn't really know. We knew it was retro, but you know, Birmingham, so many buildings are 100 years old in history. So you just never know that, oh, 1/3 of all Hall of Famers set foot on this grass. So the idea that Satchel Paige came through there, Rube Foster, and so many other greats, Piper Davis, like they all played on that field. Jackie Robinson played. It's insane to think about and to know that that type of history is still standing. It's just a beautiful thing, man. So we're gonna celebrate Willie Mays this week. We're gonna celebrate him. We're gonna have a good time remembering the legacy that he contributed to the game of baseball, and also about how to just be a good person off the damn field, bro. Like,
Like,
I was thinking about, they show those old pictures of Willie Mays just out in the street playing with kids. What athlete today in this meme era, other than KD going to Rucker and trying to ball for real? Like KD wasn't trying to take no pictures with Willie Mays. Oh, I love the kids. We just out here playing. KD was like, no, I'm putting a bucket on y'all. What athlete today do we know that just has that same reverence and love for the black community?
well, I think part of that too, some of that is just a function of the money that these dudes make now. Because Willie Mays lived in a neighborhood with actual people. Part of that is just how New York gets down, right? So if you were going to be black and living in New York and live around black people, you can't just be like, no, I'm only going to live around the rich black people. That's not really how it works. It ain't enough of us, right? Y'all might all live in the same goddamn house. Like, there's just not enough room for everybody to make that happen. But like, I had been thinking about that when I was getting ready for this show, is the idea that you might have lived on the same block with Willie Mays and he was Mr. Mays at the end of your block and coming out there and playing stickball with y'all and doing similar things, you know, being out in San Francisco when athletes lived among the people. Like it was such a different dynamic all the way around. But just imagine that we were out here playing stickball and Willie Mays came out. What?
Yeah, and to people like KD's credit, or even Kobe, I think Kobe went to Rucker at one point as well. Like, if you show up now in this selfie camera, social media era, somebody trying to cross you. If Willie Mays was playing today and he went outside to play ball, somebody would throw high and inside and try and break his jaw so that they can get put on.
They would.
Yeah, it's sad, but I think the dope thing about last night at the throwback game at Rickwood was that Willie Mays got a 90-second round of applause after the announcement was made, man. And I think that the people of Birmingham and the baseball fans that are coming to town this week, I think they're very intent on making sure that this is a celebration of his life, and as much as we can, trying to keep it a little jovial in between the tears.
Yeah, I think, well, for one, it's not quite as sad when 93 dies, right? Like, I think we all need to be real with ourselves and how we process such things. Like, when 17 dies, that's really tragic. When 93 dies, we're sad, we mourn, we grieve, but a tragedy is not really like the way that we view it. I think it becomes easier, I think, to wind up in a celebratory place when it comes with him. And the other part is, I think it's part of what I talked about earlier, where I'm not sure everybody is really up on game when it comes to him, but there is a real argument. Willie Mays is one of the 3 greatest baseball players who ever lived, period, right? Like, I don't think that you can come up with any list of the greatest baseball players that does not have him number 3 at the lowest. If you want to put Ruth over him, fine. If you want to put Bonds over him, fine. I don't think there's anybody else that you could say that you wanted to put over Willie Mays. What I hope that people can get a handle on, and if you check out the documentary that Nelson George did for HBO, I want to say last year, I didn't have the greatest grasp on this until that doc, which is what a stone cold beast we are talking about here. Like, it's one thing to look at the numbers and you see that one catch, but I don't think you even have the full context of that. Willie Mays running around center field and hitting like he did at 5'11", 170 pounds. It It was different, man. It was different. Nobody's clips are holding a candle to that.
How do we even account for also with the Negro Leagues? I feel like there's two things we have to account for because we start counting home runs. We also have to remember they was hitting home runs in spots that was 480 straight away. Rickwood Field here in Birmingham, the old brick wall behind the existing wall, it's 480 straight away, 400 down the line. How many more homers would he have been hitting if it was 330 down the line? If it was a casual 400 straight away. Number one, you got to account for that with Negro Leaguers. Number two, they played in wool. Have you ever worn wool? Do you understand the level of heat stroke you are risking every day? Wool, and you're getting called nigger every single time you're at the heat of racism and the heat of the sun working concurrently for you to still hit a ball 480 feet. You got to put them over bonds off of that, just off the top, bro.
Willie Mays hit 50 home runs in two stadiums where no one else hit 50 home runs. The Polo Grounds, which was 480 to dead center, and Candlestick Park, which was a video game with the no home run cheat code on. Willie Mays hit 50 home runs in both of those places, and nobody else did. And while we on it, Willie Mays, Johnny Mize hit 51 of the Polo Grounds also. My bad. But while we on it, Willie Mays also, if it's 480 to dead center, somebody got to cover all that ground. And Willie Mays was covering all that ground.
I really think that it's really understated just what he meant to the sport, but also to the waves of men who came after him, through the Negro Leagues. Because the other thing that he showed is that, yeah, there's a path through this. You can get through this. But, and talking about, so we did this podcast for MLB and NPR called Road to Rickwood. And it was just 4 episodes where we talked to OGs who used to play, folks who helped build the field, blah, 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 right? And a lot of the OGs was telling me that the other part of the equation at that time to make it as a black person in baseball was that there was a temperament you needed to possess, because you could have the numbers, but if you don't have the attitude, you're not going to make it. And I think that was a very, very important part of why I think Willie was able to get to where he was, because like Al Holt told me straight up, I had good numbers, but I knew the first time somebody called me nigga, I'm going to step on your neck with them spikes. And I'm going to close the door for everybody else. And so to have that awareness of what he is doing is setting the table for everybody that's coming after. And I think that's the other thing. I don't think there's any player today that is playing under such a politically divisive spotlight as people like Jackie and Willie were at those times, where the country was all tense.
Right. All right. We're going to hit some advertisements right back. We're going to come back, talk some more with Roy Wood, talk some more about Willie Mays, and talk some more about what's going on at Rickwood Field in Birmingham. My bad about the whole fire hose thing, man. I realize that you guys are sensitive about that.
We good, bro. Shut up, man. We good.
Okay. With Prize Picks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and you're locked in. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. But rather than hearing it from me, let's hear from somebody who actually uses Prize Picks. Sean, how the picks been going for you?
Bo, I was worried about making picks after the finals ends, but Prize Picks has me covered with so many other sporting options from the MLB and the WNBA and even gaming. I can make picks on just about any sport. So, if you stick around for the end of the show, you can hear my combined picks with players potentially like Asia Wilson and Angel Reese or Mookie Betts and Aaron Judge.
There we go. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Hey, let me put you on real quick. I got something you need to check out. You ever heard of the BLK app? That's BLK, not black, the BLK app. And if not, you're missing out. So check it out. BLK is the largest dating and lifestyle app made specifically for the black community. Now, for those thinking it's just the same old scene, it's not. BLK switched things up. Sure, you can find a boo if that's what you're looking for, but if you're looking just to make friends, network, or group chat with folks based on shared interests, or find out about events happening near you, BLK's got all that too. The app has been around for almost 7 years now, and over 11 million people have downloaded it. That's like the populations of New York City and LA combined. If you've downloaded the app before and deleted it, re-download it because they've introduced a bunch of new features and there's new people to meet on the app. Oh, and did I mention that it's free? Yep, free. So go download BLK today in the App Store or on Google Play. It's free, it's fun, it's for us. Check it out and let me know what you think. What happens when the brightest minds in sports and fashion join forces to create the next great athletic brand? Greatness wins. Greatness Wins athletic clothing has completely transformed my workout game. Founded by e-commerce entrepreneur Chris Riccobono, sports legend Derek Jeter, and American Ballet Theater principal dancer Misty Copeland, Greatness Wins is where the demands of sport meet the science of fit. Unlike other athletic brands that prioritize fashion over performance, Greatness Wins combines high-performance functionality with a modern, stylish fit. Made from premium, long-lasting fabrics, Greatness Wins products are built to withstand the toughest workouts. In fact, the Greatness Wins collection is curated and tested by the world's greatest competitors, meeting the highest standards for quality, construction, and endurance. And you know I've been talking about it, but I've been in the gym getting my workouts done, and I've been rocking my Greatness Wins gear, which not only looks dope, but is super comfortable to wear. Upgrade your athletic wear at greatnesswins.com now. Use code Bomani and you'll receive 25% off on your first purchase. Greatness Wins, where the demands of sport meet the science of fit. Check them out now. That's greatnesswins.com, code Bomani. All right, welcome back to the right time, Roy. Somebody I mentioned, when you hoop with the Mexicans, you can get a little physical. Apparently, it is the same with our Native American brothers and sisters. And in Canada, they say playing hockey with them results in what they call the native flu, i.e., sick and don't want to play them.
Why would you play a Native American in any athletic event when they have the most rage internalized in everybody in their land? Why would you even think that you could dunk on a Native American? I don't know the race of the person who sent that message, but if they are white, ay, pobrecito. I know that word. That is just asking for it. And I'm with it, man. Natives up in Canada learning how to, we can hit the white folks? What do I need to learn how to do? Bet. Give me the skates. I'd go straight to play it again sports and get me a used pair of them joints and be out there cruising.
No, man. Yeah, I would feel like, and they get to fight, like where fighting is like an institutionalized means of conflict resolution.
I forget the tribe, or I forget the group of people. I think it's in South America, but there are cultures, Bomani, where just every Christmas they have a square up. They just I forget what it's called. One of you people need to find it because I want to remember the name of this. But it's just people whooping each other's ass on Christmas Day, and then at the end of the ass whooping, we're good for the next year. Whatever beef we got, do you understand when a culture schedules a ceremonial annual ass whooping day? You're not going to dunk on them.
Let me tell you something. I went to Playa del Carmen in Mexico a couple years ago, and I did a tour of some Mayan ruins. And what they said was that, like, the way to show love, the sacrifice, to pay homage to the ancestors was through shedding of blood. So it wasn't winning the fight. It was the willingness to shed blood. And if you know anything about Mexican boxing and the boxers that are the most famous and most revered in Mexico, they be eating punches, dog. That's what it's about. It's about the willingness to take them blows. It's not like whooping somebody's ass is not really what they love and respect, which is a fascinating outlook on the world, right? Not how America gets down. It is your willingness to eat those punches. And I'm just saying, I don't want to hoop with nobody that live like that.
Yeah, that's why I played baseball. Stay your ass over there. That's why I like baseball. Don't nobody stand next to me. Anybody around you, other than when you at first base on the pickoff, otherwise you ain't next to nobody.
But see, you down there now, you in Birmingham, with Major League Baseball, Negro League events, and I think like Henry Aaron, who we just lost recently from Alabama, Willie Mays from Alabama. I think in a lot of ways, before this became a football country, we forget that even in the South was about baseball. It's just that the South claiming football, like there were football teams that you could claim in a nation, for the nation, right? You could claim your college and as a national resonance to that thing. And I think that's how, in part, the South became so locked in on football. But man, the Great Migration has always been my argument on, so like what happened with black people in baseball? Hey, we started moving to places that didn't have as many baseball fields. But prior to that, where this is where the baseball players were coming from. Black and white.
I also think that the South, as it relates to what baseball meant to black people too. So here's the other thing about Rickwood Field that's interesting. Because it was on the black side of town, black people came to the games. Black people watched the games. But when the field moved to Hoover and to the suburbs, when the team moved in the 80s during the big suburban boom of America, it was not as accessible. So when the when the team leaves the side of town, so does the commerce around it. And so then the neighborhood is affected by that. So white flight also played a big role in the decline of black interest in baseball.
Yeah, I tell you one thing that's also interesting as you point that out, something I learned, buddy of mine working on a book and told me about this. The holdup on integration in baseball was not the integration of the field, but they knew that if it was black people on the field, the black people would want to start coming to games, and that was where they knew they had a problem.
I mean, you just keep giving away razor blades and everything would have been gravy. Wouldn't have been no problem.
Like, you think they had a committee meeting and there was one person who was like, nah, never mind. Y'all go do whatever y'all want. Fine, fine. There had to be one person in there that was just like, guys, this can't. Like, are you sure about this?
It's the sponsor. We're giving away Gillette razors. The end. Get out of here, Carl. Do you think American sports will ever be at the same point as that European league where I think a bunch of racists got sentenced to 9 months in prison for heckling a black player?
Never happened. Never happened. Never happened. It'll never happen. Like, it'd be too many people going to jail, man. Like, they not really. Like, you heard Mike Breed when Kyrie went in the crowd. Someone called him an awful, disgusting name. And we're like, we all know what you meant. We all know. No. We all got a pretty. If it was enough for you to tell us about it, but too much to tell us what it was, we know.
We know what it was.
We know. Although in Boston, to be fair, it could have been a different one. It could have been another double G slur, right? It might not have been a direct one for Kyrie. He might have just caught a stray of sorts.
But you would think with some of the flat Earth propaganda that Kyrie, believes in, that would gain him some fans in Boston, right?
Fair. I tell you a story about like dangerous crowds, though. A friend of mine told me this story. He came down indirectly, and so I may have told you before. My daddy say Shreveport got the meanest white people on earth. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I mean that's his. And look, I mean he from a different time, so maybe the white people got nicer. But from what I've been told, not really. Anyway, somebody told me after me telling them this story, my daddy saying that they got the meanest white people on earth. Somebody told a story about a high school football game, and it was a black school, and it was a white school, and it was a white person and a Mexican sports writer that were covering the game, and they come and they get the instructions of where to sit, and told the black person, You should probably stay on this side where the black people were. And then looked at the Mexican and said, I don't know what to tell you. That's how you know they still maybe still the meanest white people in the world.
I just really wish that people understood though just how beautiful the game of baseball is and just what a beautiful analogy it is for life and recovering after failure and not letting your past failure affect your future baseball, because also it was black people invading a white space. And I think to a degree that was also part of why baseball was so beloved, because it was just, who is this brother doing this thing against them white boys that, athletically speaking, hadn't really been happening in basketball yet, hadn't really happened at the level of football yet. Like, we're still pre Jim Brown when Willie Mays is, starting to come up, when Jackie is starting to come up. So I think there's also, that's part of why baseball is so important. This girl said something to me. This girl, tell me if this is an insult. She said, "You know how I know you old? You a black man that still like baseball." And I got offended, but I understood what she was trying to say. Of a certain generation, this sport will always have a different, you're just going to have a different relationship with it.
Yeah, you was having one of those conversations where you, shall we say, consciously try to avoid things like when I was your age or back when I was in high school.
It was one of those things where you're just speaking to some young intern type at something, and I get why she said what she said, but it was on some, let me put up the gates now in case you one of them 45-year-olds that try to date a 27-year-old. Let
Yes.
me just let you know what the bit.
Yes.
So let me just call you old up front and
Yes.
let you know what the business is. I understood and
Yes.
respected that. My energy was not exuding creep, but I understood why she did. This girl bombed on me one time. She said, "Can I have your email? I would love a mentor." I said, "No, you can't have my email now. No, you can't. Now you ain't got no mentor because you made me feel old."
Yeah, no, 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 no. The I know you're old is exactly what you said. Just letting you know right now, Pops. I think that would be nasty.
Ain't gonna be no Bill Belichick over here, baby. Going on
No,
with
no,
that now.
no. I don't like the taste of Werther's originals.
Belichick got him a cheerleader, boy. That boy, I really do like the
My
way you be
favorite thing
cheerleading.
is he
I
helped her
enjoy
with her
your
philosophy
flips.
homework. He helped her with her philosophy homework, and somebody was like, doesn't he know she's only with him for his money? What is he going to do better with that money? He's 72 years old and his kids is grown. If what he do with his money is pull 24-year-olds, he can't, whatever. Yeah, I think he knows. I don't think he cares.
I had a conversation with a rich black person over the age of 70. I will not name them. I will not name the sector in which they get their
I know
money.
who you're talking about.
I asked them, I'm not even putting gender on it. Well, you know, it's a man. Let's just be real, it's a man. I asked him, I said, "What are you up to these days?" He said, and I quote, "I retire strippers for a living." I go, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Yeah. I go to strip clubs. I talk to young women, figure out what they're making for a year, double it, pay them to never come in the strip club again. You're with me now." And I'm like, "Jeez, that is a level of money." My point is, there are men that go, "She's after your money." Well, yeah, I know. I'm not going to leave it all to my kids. I have a gajillion, billion, trillion. So maybe I just want a compliant dummy around me at all times. I get it. I think I don't know if it's anything I would aspire to, but I also don't have a gajillion, billion, trillion dollars. And I also haven't been divorced 3 times and had all my money ran through. So I don't
Yes,
know. How many
I'm
divorces
just
has
saying.
Belichick had?
I think he's only had one divorce. He was in a long term relationship with some woman, and now, again, he helped her with her philosophy homework. And that is the. See, But
Why do
this
you
is the
keep
thing,
saying
though, about
that? Why
Belichick.
do you keep acting like that was how they met? And just they was scribbling and then.
No, the story was that she was on a plane and she was working on a philosophy project, and that's right up Bill Belichick's alley. That's what he bout. I'm not making this up.
So they just happened to be on the same flight, just both had seats next to each other in economy comfort. Probably get a lie flat.
No. I'm sure they was in the front of the plane. Bill
26 year
Belichick. Bill Belichick ain't seen row 6 of a plane since the 20th century. I promise you that.
I don't root against love with a 40-year age gap, but I just wonder, like, well, what are y'all both getting out of that? It's like, okay, I'm not here to judge it, but okay.
Look, man, I think the problem that people have with this with Bill Belichick is they think that Bill Belichick in press conferences is the actual Bill Belichick, when in fact he is a civil man who actually knows how to behave himself and knows how to talk to people. And I'm saying all that to say Bill Belichick got more game than you think, and Bill Belichick probably, like, when he saw her, was like, watch this. Watch this. He had a scheme drawn up already.
Do you want any assistance with your term paper? Then yeah, I use Microsoft Word. What the hell is Microsoft Word? I've never used it. And also, just if you're wondering, I'm sure the listeners are wondering, 300,000 is the floor if you want to retire a stripper in most American cities, according to my contact.
Like, she ain't never, like, is it 300 a year
at the White House?
Is it 300 a year, or is it a one-time lump sum 300?
I would imagine if you're a stripper in your prime, you can't take the buyout. We got to do a year-to-year, max deal.
Well,
I'm thinking
it all depends. It all depends. Is she really trying to go back to school? Because if she is really trying to go back to school, 300 is all you need to allow you to go make your dreams come true. You remember on The Wire, right? You remember that? Lester retired that stripper.
But why would you leave the casino after 300 if you know when you pull the slot machine again, another 300 gonna come out? School ain't going nowhere. Stack them 300s as long as them things is perky. Go get some surgery, run it back another decade, and then go to college at 40, 48 or something.
That's fair. See, that's fair.
I think men don't understand and appreciate that, because we don't really have women trying to retire us. So we can't even fathom that level of that part of the game. Like, I don't like, other than Cher and what's the boy? Is it Amber Ruffin's ex? Like, there's some. Who's the guy? Well, maybe you shouldn't, because you're not in that pop culture world. But Cher has a young boyfriend that's for sure. The one he got to fighting in France with Lil Yachty and them or somebody.
Really?
Like, why? Cher's boyfriend got in a fight with some Negroes in France at some nice French shit. I don't know all the names and the facts. I'm 45. I'm not supposed to know that information, especially since I left the Daily Show. I'm not plugged in no more. But like, a guy like that, you still look at that and you go, oh, that's interesting. But like, that's not normal. That's not commonplace for most men. I don't have any male friends that's getting caked up by a woman. So of course I don't understand the dynamics when you reverse the genders.
I had a homeboy in high school who dated a girl who had come up on a settlement under some very tragic circumstances. And, people under those circumstances tend to blow all the money because the money represents something different. But I remember that he bought her, or she bought him, a leather jacket and a pair of the Concords when they came out. And that was close to the height of getting caked up. I did date a woman once when I was like 21 or 22, And we went out on one date, and I paid for it. And I remember that date very clearly because she ordered a glass of wine, and I was young and broke to the point where I felt like she was taking liberties with my pockets that had me understanding what these rappers was talking about, right? Like all of a sudden, I'm like, Siri, play I Ain't the One, right? But I kind of let it ride, and it worked out well for me. And so she wanted to go out later, another night, and I told her, I'm going to be honest with you, I ain't got it. And she said, I would never ask you to go anywhere if I wasn't willing to pay. And so I just waited on her to ask me to go places from then on out, boy. We was going to nice restaurants, taking me to concerts, everything else, man. I had to let that go for its own set of reasons, but I enjoyed that couple of months of being kept.
What would your buyout number be?
To make me stop doing what I'm doing right now?
Said, hey, stop that podcast. Stop all of them silly media hits you be doing all over the place. Don't entertain any new offers anywhere. And just come in France. What's your number?
And do I have to be on call? Because I'm pretty sure it's an on-call situation with what you describing. I'm on call. Honestly, man, it would cost millions. It would cost millions. I'm caked up, Roy.
We all have a number, Bomani. Stop that. Stop acting like you're happy.
I said I got a number, but it would cost millions. It would cost millions. You'd have to give me about $5 million to retire me.
But that's just for a year, though. That's like a year, or I'm thinking,
hold on. Just to get me to stop doing this for a year?
Well, that's what my friend that I saw last week was saying.
Okay, so if it's just for a year, but the other part of it is your friend is also giving them like ancillary benefits, like taking them on trips. You know what I'm saying? Like paying for nice meals and stuff like that. Like he coming through like that, right?
Yeah, you never pay for anything, as far as I know. When I'm around them, I don't pull out my wallet, so I know they ain't pulling out their wallet.
All right, or not he for me, but person gonna take care of the rent.
Now wait a minute. Now you got to pay something out to little $300. I'm sure he ain't paying their rent. You got to take that out.
He might have a real estate portfolio, and he could offer some of what he got.
No, give me $10 million. $10 million. I like $10 million a year. I will just walk down the red carpet with somebody, and all of y'all will judge me in the Instagram comments, and I will smile nice and big.
But see, here's where it's gonna be all fun and games until, right? It's going to be all fun and games till she start picking out your clothes. Like normally a woman picking out your clothes works out well for you. But if she trying to like show you off, like you the trophy, she going to have you out there, you know what I'm saying, looking disrespectful.
I'm going to get with some rich old black woman, and she going to call me and be like, you need to wear what you wore to that Negro League throwback game in Birmingham. I'm gonna be in seersucker every night.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's what she liked. That's what she liked. She need the people to know her man classy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the whole thing about it, boy. That's somebody out here laughing about me being caked up. That's right. I got some good money, and I've been out here doing these deadlifts. I got cake and a sliver of cake.
No. Never mind. I take it back. I'm not for sale. DMs closed. Let me close my DMs real quick before they start hitting me on Facebook.
Facebook is where they try to buy you. But hey, man, that is Roy Wood Jr. Check him out. He's down there at Rickwood Field in Birmingham. There's a game on the 20th, right? June the 20th is in the game.
The people check out. The 20th. If you want to learn about the history of Rickwood, the podcast is Road to Rickwood. The documentary is called Rickwood, The Soul of Birmingham. You can download it for free on the very local app. But, just tune in to Fox on Thursday night. We're going to have a lot of living legends on the field. We're going to applaud them, and we're going to pay respect to the ones that are dead and gone. R.I.P. to Willie Mays.
All right, my man. I greatly appreciate you. All right, Sean, you got prize picks for the people?
I sure do, Bo. We have the NBA Finals are all done now. So, sticking to WNBA here. Aaliyah Boston, 9 boards. I'll take more. Asia Wilson, 27.5 points. I'll take more. And Caitlin Clark, 6 assists. I'll take more there. She might not score the rock as well, but she's going to pass it. So I trust in Caitlin Clark for this game against the Washington Mystics. But those are the prize picks.
And also, before we go any further, happy birthday to you, sir. Happy birthday, Sean. Everybody give a round of applause to Sean on his birthday,
Appreciate it.
which is Juneteenth.
Yeah, it's an honor to have a birthday on this holiday.
I was about to say, we can't have nothing to ourselves. Sean even popping in here talking about, well, it's my birthday. But nah, man, I appreciate you. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 3 times a week. That's the birthday boy, Sean. You handling everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. And we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.